Okay, what do you think should then, like, Israel's going in and they're getting rid of all the Hamas people in Gaza. So what do you think should happen to the Hamas leaders, even if they're not responsible for October 7th, who live in
Oh,
Qatar?
I think they should be assassinated. I think we need. Here's the thing: Israel has the capability. Okay, this is how powerful Qatar is. Okay, Israel has the capability to assassinate Hamas leaders in Qatar, but Qatar is so influential that even Israel doesn't want to piss off Qatar so much. Qatar warned Israel that do not assassinate these people while they're in Qatar, and Israel is actually listening to Qatar. That's how influential Qatar is in politics right now. Because
Okay,
even Israel needs Qatar when it
no,
comes
I
to
understand. I
talking
understand
to
that.
Hamas.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I just understand Qatar is often the center for a lot of these negotiations in the middleman. Okay, okay. Listen, we can disagree on how likely it is to happen, but I don't think it matters since we're well past that point. Uh, we both agree that that would be nice if that happened. We just disagree on how likely it is. Uh, okay, so where were we before? Okay, so we're
I think
talking
we
about. I'm not sure.
let me say some of our agreements. Okay, I think we agree that Israel is not committing an act of genocide based on the things that I've heard. Like you think that they're doing some human rights violations because of negligence, because indiscriminate bombing, but you don't go as far because you're saying you're not using the intentionality claim, and for the genocide claims you require intentionality. So you're not
Yes.
accusing Israel of committing genocide, correct?
I don't think there's enough evidence to definitively conclude that Israel's committing a genocide. I think it's plausible,
Okay.
but I don't have enough evidence to make that statement.
Okay, well, that's better than most people. I appreciate that. But go
I
on.
mean, I
You
think
wanted to say something?
yeah, I was just talking about like I would never like say make that statement because I think again, there's not like it's really hard to put in pull intention and we can like dig
Right.
deep into the quotes and try to interpret it.
And
But I think that we'll get that
the
information.
quotes were so misused. Like when
I
you
some
look at the
some of them
quotes
were
that were,
misused. I know, I'm familiar with that, yeah. Uh, but
yes.
I think so I think we'll know that in a few years and what exactly the situation there. But no, it's not my most likely. I don't think that's the most likely thing that's happening, which is Israel's trying to
So
commit
we
genocide.
also agree, and we also agree that it's very likely that there are some war crimes happening by IDF soldiers in
But that was
Israel,
never in
just like we
question.
have
We're
said
talking
it
about
before. So the only point of disagreement that we have is whether there's a systematic top-down negligence because of lack of care for Palestinian lives, and that's what we disagree on. I think that Israel has shown that they do above and beyond what is needed to show care for Palestinian lives, and you disagree with that. So that's the point of disagreement, the main point of disagreement that we had.
so yeah, but I think that everyone in their right mind would agree that someone in the Israeli army at some point has committed a war crime, right? I don't think that's something that anyone ever
Yeah,
questioned.
every
Yeah,
army has
every
that.
army. Yeah, sure. Every single army has there has been
Yeah,
some dipshit
but
for
for
a bunch
some
of
reason, we're so much more critical. When it comes to Israel, people try to paint the entirety of Israel as this evil country because they have certain people that are bad actors, and I think they do that with Israel more than any other country, and I
please
think it
don't
has
say
something to do with them
anti-Semitic.
being Jewish.
Oh my
What?
god. This is where you lost me. This is the anti-Semitic
What?
Semitic argument is I think so lame
You don't
and such
you don't think it's because of that. You
no.
really I
I
think
don't
anybody who denies the level of anti-Jewish hatred that exists, that makes people the double standards that they
I
judge,
think
the way
people
that they judge
greatly
Israel.
no, I just totally I think people greatly I'm sure there are some anti-Semitic people out there. And a lot of those anti-Semitic people
Oh,
are actually people who are supporting the Gaza invasion because they're Christian evangelicals, blah blah blah. But no, I don't. I think people heavily overblow the level of anti-Semitism here, and I've seen
oh
this
my
time and
God.
time again. It's like, oh, you disagree with Israel, you're anti-Semitic. I've seen
No,
this debate
that's not
time and
what I
time.
said.
I know you. I know you
That's
didn't
not
do
what
it.
I
You
said.
didn't do it. You didn't do it. I'm saying that I've seen it in many, many, many debates. The anti-Semitic thing is being thrown around left and right. Like, for example, with the Columbia protesters, right? It's like, oh, these people are anti-Semitic, ignoring the fact that like a lot of them are actually Jewish themselves. So no, I don't think that the reason. First of all,
But
I don't think. Wait, wait,
these
let me
are
just. Wait, you
these are
got.
two separate claims though.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Go
Let me finish. I
finish.
don't think that Israel is receiving some unfair level of scrutiny that other countries would not receive. If we look at the American war in Iraq, in Europe, there was a massive movement. Like everyone was talking shit about America during the war in Iraq. I think that if we look at what with Russia invasion, I understand the different situations, but everyone was shit talking on Russia. So I don't think this has anything to do with them being Jewish. I think that's a misnomer, and that's an intellectually lazy way of not even engaging in the argument. I think this has everything to do with what people perceive to be either a genocide, what they perceive to be, or war crimes being committed is what people perceive to be the case. I think out of everyone who's anti-Israel, like less than 1% of them are actually anti-Semitic.
Okay, it's intellectually lazy if you assume somebody is anti-Semitic just because they're criticizing Israel. Okay,
Agree?
but that is not. I agree with that part. Okay, but that's not the same as acknowledging the high level. I mean, you have to be blind not to see the level of anti-Jewish hatred that exists in the world and how much that motivates the anti-Israeli anger that exists. Like this is such a deep-rooted ancient hatred that exists within the fabric of cultures all around the world, and I
There's not like
think you have
there's not some
no
cultural
idea.
hatred of Jews. This is coming from someone who's
Oh my god,
point to me
you
like some of these
are you
point to me
are
point to me some of these instances of this deep spread hatred in America. I know in Arab countries it happens, but in America, like people who are in positions of power, or point me to like any examples of this happening in America.
well, I mean, I could show you a lot of examples in America. I have to go and list them for you, but
Well,
again,
just show me a few, just a few.
I
You're saying
agree. I agree that maybe in United States, even here's the thing: in United States, it has it less than all these other third world countries that are surrounding Israel. First of all, but even in United States, the level of hatred that exists for Jews is higher than the level of hatred that exists for almost any other group of people. Right?
show
So
me
there
some
is the
evidence of
level
that.
of hatred, the
One
level of hate crimes. I mean, the level of hate you do not notice that the level of hate crimes against Jews is higher than any other group in the United States?
show me evidence that
Do you
there's
know?
more that this war is being prosecuted, like that Israel, that there's massive anti-Semitism in the West, or any element of like show me the evidence besides some fringe
I
person on
have
Twitter.
what I will go gather those for
Why
you
don't you just show
because
me
I
something like
have
right
done
now?
stream after stream.
Or
I
just
have to go gather that information for you. But this is such fun. This is within the
this is
media. It's within the universities.
no,
It's
there's media
within
saying there's anti-Semitism, but I haven't actually seen like
no,
clear-cut evidence of
no, no.
anti-Semitism
Okay.
from people in power. There's a difference between someone
It's
on college.
within academia. Have you not seen it within academia? Have you not seen it when it comes to okay. I will send those your way if you're actually
Which
this
is just
interested. But
okay,
here's
fine.
the thing.
Instead of
Then you
sending them,
agree.
tell me what they
Let me
are.
give you that. Let me give you that. Would you agree that the level of anti-Jewish hatred around Israel, surrounding Israel, it's insanely high in that neighborhood?
In the Arab countries?
Everywhere around Israel.
We're talking about in Israel proper? We're talking about in the surrounding countries.
No, Israel's neighbors and its neighbors'
Yeah,
neighbors.
of course, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So at least you accept that
Yeah, in Arab
because the
countries, of
world,
course.
well, it's Arab countries, Turkish countries. Not all, not just Arab countries. Like Iran is not an Arab country. The Islamic Republic of Iran is extremely anti-Jewish. Pakistan is not an Arab country. Afghanistan is not an Arab country. Bangladesh is not an Arab country. All these, Indonesia
But
is not an Arab
these
country.
these are
North,
these are
North.
largely Muslim countries. That's what I mean. Largely
Yes,
Muslim
yes, yes.
countries.
Also, okay. Here's a country that is neither Muslim or Arab. Russia. Or all the former Soviet Union countries. Do you know the level of anti-Jewish hatred that exists there?
Existed or exists?
Exists right now.
Go ahead and tell me, because I'm
It's
from I'm
it,
from that
it's
part of the world.
it's crazy. You would not believe the world. Okay,
Well,
you do not.
I was born there, and that's where I spent the first 7 that's where my whole family's from, is Belarus. Half of us are Jewish. We didn't really experience any kind of anti-Semitism at all.
Okay,
So show me
this is
examples of it.
this is yeah. This is personal experiences that is not data. But I will
That's
show you.
fine.
I will
Show
show
me
you things.
data. Yeah.
I will. I will. I mean, you cannot expect me to just do like data
No, but you're making such
collection
a
live on
strong
air with you.
claim. I mean, like that there's like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this
Okay.
widespread anti-Semitism. Like
I mean,
I would figure like
yeah,
if,
but I'm sorry, I thought this is such because I've seen so many reports on how much of a deep-rooted hatred this is for Jewish people all around the world, and how
I've seen
foundational.
news media
Like I've seen
talking
so
about
many
it.
reports and studies on this that I didn't even know that this
I
is
would
going to be disputed.
If you can show me a study, I would love to see that. And I'd be happy if it's a legitimate study to
Okay.
change my perspective. I've seen news media talking about anti-Semitism. News media talking about something doesn't make it the
But
case.
saying I didn't experience it
I
is not a
understand.
response.
Anecdotal, well, it's somewhat of a response. Anecdotal evidence is the lowest in terms of the evidence hierarchy, but you're just
Right.
talking in
I
general
mean, there are
of
so
that
many
part of the
black
world.
people. There's so many black people in the United States that haven't experienced any form of racism.
I
You know that,
understand
right?
that. I understand it's statistic,
Right.
but like you don't have to like okay, fine, don't show me an article, but just explain to me what is the evidence, for example, for there to be this widespread
I
anti.
will. I will. I will. I didn't. I'm
But you
not ready
can't.
to
But
provide that data
can't
for
you?
you.
Like I understand you can't show me the sources, but can't you just recite it? Like tell me about it.
No, I cannot recite studies. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
not
not like
studies.
ChatGPT.
Just tell me about the summary of the study. Like just tell me what it
The
consisted of.
summary of the study shows deep-rooted hatred for Jews globally.
Like where was the study done? Like what did they look at? Like how was like
Again, I will find them and I will send them to you. When it comes to studies that were focused on United States or on Europe or the rise of anti-Semitic views in Europe or in North America, in Russia, in Arab countries, in Africa, in the Far East, like there is a wide range of studies and analysis. I'm not going to be able to. I'm sorry, I don't have like it.
no,
I'm not ChatGPT.
I
I
was
can't
just
just
like
like
thinking like you could just tell me about one of them. Like I agree with you that in terms of Arab countries,
I'm not.
there's
Yeah,
massive
I
anti.
don't memorize names of study and
I'm
statistics
not,
in
but
those
you're
studies. I'm
now you're
sorry.
strawman. I'm not asking you for a name of a study. I'm just asking you to describe it. Like if you take something that I
It's,
talk
I
about,
did.
where I say a study, you just said there was a lot of anti-Semitism. That's it. Like you just literally gave me one sentence. I'm just asking you just to explain the study to me, like kind
Give
of
me an example of what you want to hear.
evidence that there's
Give me an
widespread
example.
anti-Semitism outside of Muslim majority countries.
Yes, there is evidence for widespread anti-Semitism
So tell
outside
me
of
about this
Muslim
evidence.
majority.
Like, what does it look like? Is it surveys? Like, what is it?
Yeah,
Is
I mean, it's surveys, it's other form of studies, it's bias, measuring of biases, measuring of laws, measuring of like many different things. It's a variety of things.
so there's
Again, I will
anti-Semitic.
show you.
Okay, I agree
Yes.
with you. There's anti-Semitic laws in the Middle East, but are you saying there's anti-Semitic laws in like Europe or around that part of the world?
Not well, not in Europe, but there are other countries that are not Muslim or Arab, and yes,
Like Russia, for example, you think there's
there are biases
anti-Jewish?
within Russia against. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if they have. I don't think they have specific laws for it, but there are systematic racism against Jewish people there for sure. Yeah, and many other former Soviet countries.
Okay, you'd have to. I mean, you do know that Soviet Union countries have a lot of Jewish people in them. Like, there's a lot of Russian Jews.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. You know what? Germany had a lot of Jews before Hitler came into power.
are you really going to equate Germany to Russia now when it comes to Jewish people?
No,
This is
I did not. I'm just saying I'm showing that that doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying they're the same. That's you're
okay.
strawmanning me.
Fair
I'm
enough. Fair
not
enough.
saying they're the same. I'm just saying having a lot of Jews doesn't mean that you're not anti-Semitic. I'm
Okay,
just
fair enough.
challenging that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You would need those Jews to be in a position of power to make it different than what happened in Germany. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you can send me that stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna keep pressing you on it, but yeah, I don't know. I find that like I will fully acknowledge that like a lot of these Muslim majority countries they fucking hate Jews, or at least there's laws and there's
Not
discrimination.
in
I
Iran
understand.
though. Not in Iran. Good
Yeah,
news
not
about
in
that.
Iran, of course not.
Yes.
Iran loves
Iran
Jews.